clearly didn't read this well enough. We hear about, what's his face? Achilles, fuck that bitch. To me, that's incest. And in this case, incest is not incest. You did this to yourself. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my yap session, my monthly yap session. My name is Miria, whatever you want to call me, either or. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my crib. This is stuck in my head right now, so today's gonna be chaotic. This is us setting up for the chaos. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about all the books I have read in April and May. And the reason I skipped April is I did not finish a single book. So, thriving, clearly. I had such a bad book hangover after Invocations because Invocations was so good. And then I tried picking up 2 books and I DNFed them, and I'm gonna be talking about them. But I didn't think 2 DNFs warranted a whole ass video, so here we are. Being grouped with May instead, which I think is superior. How many have I read? I think I read 6 in May. I forgot to mention that. 6 books in May, 2 DNFs in April, and 1 book that I cannot talk about yet for reasons. They're not as interesting as you would think. Like, I feel like I'm being so cool and mysterious. I'm like, it's redacted, guys. It's like a secret, but it's not, I think, exciting for any of you. Well, maybe one person, but it's literally one person. So yeah, don't get too excited, but there is a book that cannot be talked about. So we will talk about 5, 6, 7 books. 2 DNFs, 7 books total. Let's get in. April. So book 1 in April, I picked up This Blood That Binds Us. Also, I don't have a single physical copy of every single book I'm going to be talking about. I feel like, oh, that's not true. I have. Should I go get it? I'm gonna go get it. I'm back. I got it. It's not even the first book. That's gonna be the second book we're gonna talk about. She's coming. But first book, like I said, I mostly read ebooks. I even read the one I have physical, I read in the ebook. It was free. Kindle Unlimited. Let's go. So book 1. This Blood That Binds Us by S.L. Coakley. Don't know how to say it. And this one. So one of my very close friends, she loves this book. She is obsessed with this book. And she did tell me I wouldn't like it. So to her benefit, I knew I wouldn't like it. But I'm curious and I wanted to know what it is. And basically, the little premise, we've got Kim. She goes on a solo camping trip and she gets bitten by a vampire on the solo camping trip. And Aaron is said vampire who is desperately trying to resist the bloodlust that, he's been turned, and he's like, oh my god, I don't want a vampire, but I'm gonna vampire anyway because I don't have a choice. He's that kind of kid. Turns out they're in the same uni. He feels terrible for biting her and almost killing her. He did call 911, so she didn't die, but like she could have. So he feels really bad, and now they're stuck together. And I'm sure stuff happens, but that's where I stopped reading, which was like 15? Yeah, 15-ish%. I promised my friend I would be really nice about this. And not say anything mean. To be fair to her, I don't actually have anything like bad to say about the book. It's just not for me. It was very, very heavily Twilight coded, and I love and respect Twilight for what it is, like cultural significance and all of that. Why is this just doing that? I don't want that. It was very Twilight. It was kind of, I don't know. It felt very childish, even though I don't think it's YA. I think it's adult. I'm not actually sure. But yeah, I gave up 15% in. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop right now because I know I'm not going to enjoy it. So I'm just going to move on. So that was book 1 of April. And then book 2. So I picked up physical copy. This doesn't look so good. A Hunger Like No Other by Chrisley Cole. And I picked this up because you can see that cover. Yes, looks so good. And then Ali Hazelwood on the cover. OG Alpha Werewolf Vampire Fated Mates Romance. The one that started it all. And I read the back and I was like, okay. Should I read it? Far Below the Streets of Paris. The Like a King Lachlan McRaeve, I don't remember his name being so funny, languishes in the catacombs, held prisoner by the werewolves' mortal enemies, vampires. Why there's a lot of Twilight? I'm just realizing that. Anyway, for 150 years, he has dwelled in darkness until the scent of his fated mate compels him to break his chains. Half vampire, half Valkyrie, Emmeline Troy has spent her entire life hidden by the New Orleans coven who raised her. Arriving in Paris for her first real adventure, Emma hopes to uncover the mystery of her parents' death, and perhaps even have her first kiss. When Lachlan and Emma collide, the last thing he expects is a mate in a mate is the bewitching vampire Mix. I clearly didn't read this well enough. Who wants only to escape his grasp, and she wasn't looking for an adventure as big as the intimidating and the seductive werewolf king who won't let her go. As forbidden desires grow undeniable, the pair return to Lachlan's ancestral castle, where dangers I can't read. Where dangers lurk in the shadows. Together, Lachlan and Emma must face not only evil immortals, but the pull of destiny itself. And let me tell you something, okay? I knew it was gonna be silly goofy. I knew, like, okay, vampire werewolf mates. Like, I'm not gonna take this seriously, but I love Bride. And I was like, well, it says for fans of Bride, right? So I picked it up and I read it. And I don't think that's all about a vampire prologue. So I'm not crazy, and there are no trigger warnings at the beginning of the book. But this is like mild spoiler for like the first 20%. I don't even think I got to 20%. But like the first time they meet, right? He breaks his chains because he can smell her, which honestly ridiculous. Like you've been there being tortured and like they cut off his limbs and then they regrow because he's like this vampire thingy. Not vampire, werewolf thingy, sorry. What was your name? Lachlan. So his limbs are like regrowing because they've cut him off, and you've been in the catacombs like tied up in your chains, and like they take your power and they're trying to kill you for 150 years. And suddenly you smell wild. You smell your mate and you go, I'm gonna break my fucking chains and I'm gonna go. And so he does. He breaks his chains, he goes, he starts running. And then he finds her, right? And she is terrified because respectfully, if you're a woman and you're walking alone in Paris and you're just like having, you know, your time in Paris or whatever, and a behemoth of a man that's mostly naked, I'm pretty sure, and like probably bleeding and shit, just runs straight at you, I'd be calling the police. Personally, I don't think they would do anything because that's the world we live in, but that would be my first moment. But he runs after her, and I don't remember what happens. He convinces her to take him home by threatening her and her entire family. And then there was a very non-con slash dub-con scene in the bathroom. And that's when I put the book down because I'm sorry. I don't do that. You know, not to kink shame. I will kink shame, actually. On this one, I will shame. Non-consensual slash dub-con in this household, absolutely the fuck not. So that's when I closed the book and I DNFed it. I was like, because I don't care if he redeems himself, because there is no redeeming from that. Like that to me is a line that cannot be crossed, you know? So I don't care what happens next. I don't care if turns out he's, you know, it's basically Beauty and the Beast or whatever. I don't care. He dub-con, enough. Line drawn. Goodbye. Thank you very much. So, yeah, that was my second DNF. And those were my April books. You can tell. We clearly had a Twilight theme for some reason. Don't know why, but there we were. Then in May, I decided to pick up The N Crowns All by B. Fitzgerald. And this is the backstory to this. I went to Comic-Con last year, to MCM, and there was a panel about Greek retellings, and there was B. Fitzgerald, Kika Hatsopoulos, and then another author that I cannot remember who it was. I'm so sorry. But they were talking about their books. And I love a Greek retelling. Oh, that's my Kindle. I was like, what is this? But I love a Greek retelling. And she was there for, not the N Crowns All. B was there for like the next book. But I basically, at that panel, I picked up Kika's book and I loved it. It's Threads That Cut. Pretty sure. Yes. Threads That Cut. Haven't read the second one yet, but I will and it was really, really good. And then I picked up The End Crowns All by B. Fitzgerald because it's a YA romantasy Greek mythology retelling that is sapphic and ace representation. Cassandra and Helen of Troy. That's like it's so up my alley. Like sapphic, yes. Ace, beautiful. Helen and Cassandra. Cassandra is my favorite character in Greek mythology. Like this is what you need to know. I love Cassandra. I think she's amazing. I really the book did disappoint me. I'm sorry. I did not vibe with it. It was okay. Okay. I gave it 3 stars because it wasn't a bad book. Like there's not a moment where it's like this is a shit book. You know, it was a good book. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be. Is the best way I can put it. Basically, story, Cassandra makes a deal with her patron Apollo to get the gift of, I wrote fantasy, but it's prophecy. But she gets the gift of prophecy. She fails to uphold her end of the bargain for reasons that I will not say because they're spoilers. And he curses her so that all of her prophecies will never be believed. Like whatever she says that she saw, everything she sees is accurate, but no one is ever gonna believe her, is basically what it is. And then Helen shows up in Troy. Cassandra knows that Helen is the cause of the war, you know, as she is. Even though I think, like personally, I think Paris was the problem, but I don't think we're ready for that conversation. We're just blaming women. But Cassandra hates her because she's like, oh my god, Helen's bringing the war. Like Helen is such a bitch. So she hates her. And then the war does happen. And they kind of fall in love. Whatever. Honestly, so little happens on the page, which was my main issue with the book. Like, there's a war going on, right? There's the whole war of Troy, which, you know, pretty significant event. But we don't ever see the war up until, like, I want to say the last 5%. Like, really, really, the ending is the only time we see the war. Otherwise, it's just told to us. Like, they just tell us, oh, this happened, and now Cassandra is sad. Oh, this person died, and so Helen is sad. But I never see anything. And this, like, show, don't tell, that's not in this book. This book is tell, don't show, apparently. So we hear all of these things about the war. We hear about Hector. We hear about, what's his face? Achilles. Fuck that bitch. Still hates Achilles. Nothing has changed. I will never read the Song of Achilles because I hate that bitch with a passion. I wanted to see more. I wanted more to happen. Very little happens. But what really irritated me is that Helen and Cassandra just felt really bland and very one level. Is that a word for it? Like they didn't have layers to them. They were very much like just there, kind of. Like, yeah, they were the main characters, and yes, we get both of their POVs, but they don't do anything. They kind of just sit there and complain. Like, most of the book is them complaining about being like, oh, my life is so miserable. Oh, my parents want me to get married, but I don't want to get married. So I went and I became a nun instead. Which was, you know, a choice, but good for you, bestie, I guess. And they hate themselves, and they're like, oh, I caused all of this problem, and like, why am I such a horrible person? Why am I doing this and why am I doing that? And then they just keep doing the exact same thing and never fix anything. So yeah, they just felt kind of, I don't know, didn't really like them. But I can see how people would enjoy it, but I would say go into it expecting nothing but a romantasy because it's really strong on the romantasy. Like that's basically all that happens. There's the plot kind of not there. It's just these two just kind of falling for each other. Like I think it's marketed as enemies to lovers, but they're not really enemies. Like they just kind of hate each other in like a weird way, and that's kind of it. So yeah, that was Anne Kranzel. I might read more of her books. I don't know. I'm open. Next, talking about lower expectations. This is when we lower our expectations to be like below the ground. Zodiac Academy #2, Ruthless Fae. Yes, I'm continuing the series, and yes, I'm still working on making a plot recap for this entire shit show because I think it's gonna be so much fun, which is why it's taking me so long to read them because I'm writing my notes about what's happening in the plot. But like, where do I start? It's such a shit show. It's the second Zodiac Academy book, and Yeah, I'm not going to talk much about the plot because I feel like that's gonna be its own thing. You're gonna hear about the plot, but not right now. Basically, it's still very much Ebony, Dementia, Raven, twins, the pick-meest of pick-me's, and them being really fucking horny for their professors and their bullies. So much stuff happens, and yet so little. I'm pretty sure this entire book happens over the course of like a single week, which is wild. Like wild. Like book one, they're talking about like the reckoning, right? They're like, oh my god, this test that we're gonna have to do at the end of the semester. We are not there yet. We haven't even started talking about, like, they talk about the reckoning, like, oh my god, like the reckoning is gonna happen. Like, what are we gonna do? No clue what the reckoning is. I think we're like halfway through the semester. And during book two. Insanity. Insanity. It's so bad. Like every time something happens, I have to kind of like sit there and go like, how how did we get here? And how did the authors go, this makes sense. This is the plot we're gonna go for. You know what? I'm gonna say one spoiler. There is, I'm gonna keep it vague, so it's not too spoiler, but it's a spoiler. But someone, two of them, fuck at the bottom of a pool in like a little bubble. Like they create a little bubble and they fuck at the bottom of the pool and then they come out of it. And they say, and I quote, what happens in the pool stays in the pool. And I just, wild, wild, such a bad book. 3 stars. This is like, like the first book, 3 stars was like, I was disappointed. This one, I am amused. I am entertained by this shit show. This is my reality TV. You know how like some people watch reality TV because it's so bad that it's funny? This is me with Zodiac Academy. Oh, and then we have our redacted book, which I will say was a 3.5. I can't say much. I'll probably will talk about it next month. Again, nothing exciting for you. Sorry, not gonna be. I wish it could be like I actually read this like super secret book that has not come out. No, it's been out for I think like 30 years or something. So this month we had our readathon with the girls, which is basically me and like my friends. We go off to somewhere. This time we went to York. Really cool. Oh my gosh, should I get my little phantom? It's not a phantom, it's a ghost. I've just been watching ghost videos so much. This has turned into a tiny life update, but I have ghosts. I have multiple ghosts. When if you have ghosts, you have everything. I'm not talking about the band. I'm talking about these little guys. Look at him. He's so cute. So I got this guy because he reminded me of Carden from Cruel Prince, the little sneaky. This guy I had before. And then we went to York and one, my best friend made me this. She made one for all of us. Can you focus? It's a bat, but apparently she forgot to give him ears, which I honestly love him even more. Like he looks so silly. I love him. Let me put him there. There we go. And then York has this little ghost shop. So I got a ghost. I adopted a little ghosty. Look at him. Isn't he so cool? Really like, look at that. Oh. So maybe this is Phantom. I need to give them names. Maybe this is gonna be Phantom. But the most even cooler, last one, my final little ghost. Mothman cat ghost. Anyway, now I have a bunch of little ghosties. I put them somewhere that's not as precarious as where I left them. So sorry, that was a tangent, but I wanted to show them off. So yeah, we went to York. Oh, it's raining. Lovely. We went to York and we had a little readathon. So we got, some ghosts, we got food, we, all the fun stuff. We caught up, we talked about everything. We somehow managed to cover every single deep topic within the first 2 hours. Like on the train there, we had addressed death, final wishes, palliative care, politics, everything. But anyway, we were actually there to read books. And so we pick a book, right? And we don't have the best track record. The last few books we have read. So what did we read together? We read all of ACOTAR and Crescent City together, which Atrocious. All of them atrocious books. CC3 had us like genuinely. There are videos of us that I won't share because I respect my friends too much for that. But there are videos of us like slowly losing whatever brain cells we had left and going down into absolute insanity over Crescent City 3 and how that book was such a nightmare. It's so stupid. It's so bad. I do not understand how people enjoy it. Anyway, read through those atrocities. All 8 of them. Jesus. And then we also read when we finished CC2 together, we picked up My Roommate is a Vampire, which I have to remind myself to say the title of correctly because we call it My Vampire is a Roommate because we refuse to say the title right because that book was that bad. Oh my god, that was such a bad book. So bad. It's basically I know these are not the books from this month. This is just me going on a tangent, but I need to tangent. And My Vampire's Roommate is basically there's this like vampire who moves in with a girl. Like she moves in with him because she's like, this is cheap. Let me just move in with this really creepy guy that definitely is totally normal. Um, and absolutely not a vampire. And it turns out he's a vampire. And it's basically like her trying to show him how to like be an adult. And we started reading it at 3 a.m., right? We had just finished CC2. If you know how that bullshit ends, like that's already whoa. So we had finished that and we were like, oh my god, this was so bad. Let's pick something up. And we Vampire is a Roommate at like 2:30 a.m. And then 2 of us gave up halfway through, including me. I stopped reading. Not even halfway through. I think I lasted maybe 100 pages. But the other 2 continued to read out loud. So I was subjected to the entire thing until like 6 a.m. And it's her, this girl shows him, she's an artist, right? She's blonde, she's an artist, she's a painter. She's that cool girl. And he's a vampire. And then she shows him how to live in the contemporary world because I think he was like asleep. I don't remember. He was dead, asleep, something for the past 100 years. And so it's basically she's holding his hand and she's Dora the Explorer, and he is just there. He is Babouche. What's Babouche in English? I only know the French version. Don't ask me. I don't know. Monkey. Monkey with the red boots. And they explore the world. And then spoilers, but like who cares? It's a bad book. You shouldn't read it. Um sorry. I might be a bit mean, but he for some reason can conjure up fruits. Like once he gets emotional, he gets fruits. Like they just pop out of nowhere. Wild book. But that was My Vampire's Roommate. That was the second, I don't know. That was another thing we read together, I guess. And then after that, we tried reading English out the door. We tried reading Mistborn. Only one of us finished it. Everyone else DNFed. I think the others read maybe 20 pages when we were there for the book club. I read 20%, and that is a brick, so I probably over 100, and I DNF'd it because it was boring. Um, but that was one of the books that we tried. Obviously, it was not a success. Everyone thought it was bad. We didn't finish it. And did we read anything else? Oh, we read Zodiac 1. Zodiac Academy was one of our books. And so this was this time's book. So you can tell, right, by my incredible tangent, um, that we don't have a track record for successful good books. When we read together, we in general like to pick stupid bad things because it's more entertaining when you're like with your friends reading a really bad book, right? So we picked this up and we thought it's gonna be okay. It's a contemporary romance. It has really good reviews. A lot of our friends were like, oh my god, it's such a good book. Good. So this was readathon weekend book 1. Yeah, so Clementine. Why are there so many Clementines in contemporary romances? That's if I had a nickel for every time the girl in my contemporary romance is called Clementine. She's a publicist, she's overworked, she is way too up the career ladder considering how old she is, but like that's a different issue. And she moves in, so her aunt died, she moves into her aunt's apartment. And apparently the apartment is magical and it like makes you time travel 7 years, either in the past or in the future, depending on what you need. So one day she's just sleeping and then magically there's a strange man that appears in her house. She is way too chill about it. Like, she is concerned for like 0.5 seconds, and then she kind of just accepts it and lets him live there, which is a wild decision. I'm just saying, like, if a random man appeared in my house and showed me a letter from my aunt who is dead saying he could stay over, I don't think I would be okay with that, but she was. So do with that what you will. They fall in love. It's contemporary romance. Are we shocked? Anyway, it's basically, and they were roommates. But it was so boring. I don't remember a single thing. Like, don't ask me a single thing that happened in the book. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you. It was that boring. We read it in one sitting, which at least there's that going for it. It was short and funny. But they were roommates. It was really, really boring. Nothing happens. The sex scene was really entertaining to me, mostly because one of my friends decided to stop reading it. And we went to school together. We were both Lebanese, so we speak Arabic. And I was giving her the updates, but I was ahead of everyone. So I was giving her the updates in Arabic because our other two friends cannot speak Arabic. So trying to say good girl in Arabic, iconic. Iconic. That's all I have to say. But that was the funniest part about the entire book. And that wasn't even a book. That was just me being funny. So I'm funnier than the book. Anyway, oh, and this is a spoiler, so you might want to skip. Her aunt had a lesbian lover that she met through the whole magic apartment thing. So she had this woman that she fell in love with. And they were very sapphic and very in love, but they could never be together because the magic of the apartment just didn't work that way. Because like once, like, you know this person, but like then I don't know, whatever how it's explained, I don't really remember. I don't really care. But this woman who is her aunt's lover is the guy's mom that she is dating, which I know that like by blood it's not incest. But to me, that's incest. And in this case, incest is not incest. So that was 7 year slip. 7 year slip. Book 2 out of 3. This is when we all read 7 year slip, and then we each read our books because we couldn't agree on anything. But the next book I read was Wild and Wrangled, which I also finished during our readathon. And it's the fourth book. Yeah, the fourth and final book from Rebel Blue Ranch by Lila Sage's series. And I love this series, right? I think Lila is like one of the best Yeehaw authors. And I know because I read a lot of Yeehaw. Yeehaw is my favorite. Yeehaw is the only like contemporary romance that I think has a fair shot like in my books, because I don't like contemporary romance. I get bored. But Yeehaw, I like my Yeehaw. But this one was just meh. I read mostly meh books, honestly. Like, I don't have a single good book. Oh, I forgot to say, 7 Year Slip was 2 stars. And Wild and Wrangled, 3 stars. But yeah, all of my reads up to then, for like April, May, very meh. And I thought Wild and Wrangled was gonna fix that, but it was also very meh. It was like, okay. So Cam is Gus. Which book was Gus? Third book was Gus? He's one of the brothers. So Cam is Gus's baby mama, but they were never together. Her family's really rich. They want her to have like a specific type of life. She doesn't want it because obviously she doesn't want it. Why would you want that in your life? Dusty is her high school romance sweetheart, but they broke up in a bad, like it's said to be like a really bad way. Like it was really terrible, and she feels horrible. It's like I was such a monster to break up with him in that way. In my opinion, it really wasn't that dramatic. But apparently it was for them. So who am I to say? Maybe I'm just, I don't know. I don't think it was that bad, personally. And then they're back in the same town because Dusty's done going around the world or whatever the fuck he was doing. And very shocking news, they fall in love with each other all over again because they always loved each other. Like they were always meant to be. But yeah, I think this is the weakest book. Mostly because like I liked Cam until a certain point, because again, she acted a lot like a kid. Like a lot of what she did, I love how she acted. She just felt like she was like 5, and she irritated me. Like for the first half of the book, I was like, you know what, it's okay. You've been through a lot. She gets like abandoned, left at the altar at the end of book 3. as a setup for this book. So it's like, you know what, just got left at the altar, you've had a rough life, I'll give you a pass. But then like halfway through, I'm like, okay, I'm done giving you a pass. You're kind of being stupid at this point. And Dusty is kind of like a child. So it's like these two that are meant to be adults and parents, and yet they're acting like they're 12, and they just really irritated me. And the third act conflict is what really, really sent me over the edge, because I was gonna be okay with the book. I was like, okay, they've irritated me and it's not like my favorite book, but you know what, whatever. And then the third act conflict was just so stupid. And it was over literally nothing. And I was done. That's when I was like, you know what, Cam? You did this to yourself. But I am excited for the next book that Lila is writing. I don't know when it's coming out. I think it's like a mountain one, right? It's not Yeehaw anymore. Very sad. But I'll give them a chance because it's Lila. And so far she only has one book disappointed me. So, Anyway, next. Final book that I have to talk about. And the only good book I have read in the last 2 months. My only 5-star. My only book over 3 stars. And it happened to be a 5-star. That's how good it was. It was an arc that I got on NetGalley, And the River Drags Her Down by Ji-hyun Yoon. It's inspired by a story from Korean folklore, and I don't know how I couldn't find the abstract. I'm sure if I had dug, I could have found it, but I'm just gonna try my best to summarize it myself. Basically, we follow Sujin and Mire, who are 2 sisters. We mainly follow Sujin, but Mire is important. They inherit, so their family, the women in their family inherit this necromancy power to bring things back from the dead. And it has its limits, and you usually only use it on small creatures because when you, like, it takes a lot out of you, so you can't use it to revive someone else because otherwise, it's too much energy and you end up both dying, so it's not very useful for everyone, is it? But they inherit that because the women in their family all have it. And it stems, like, it's very allegorical to generational trauma. It's a very heavy book. I would recommend you, like, check trigger warnings because it's heavy. And it addresses a lot of, like, grief and generational trauma and, like, racism and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they're the 2 sisters. Their mom died recently. I mean, a few years back, their mom died. They're teenagers. And then Mire dies in what is said to be an accident, but everyone's kind of like, was it an accident? So Sujin and her dad are the only 2 left, and they have a rat. She has a rat called Milky's, which was her mom's rat that they keep bringing back to life every single time, which I think is it's cute. I like Milky's. I feel really bad for her. She was really cute. But yeah, Sujin is just grieving and lonely and scared and alone, and she's a teenager, and she's, going through shit, and her grief leads her to do what's forbidden and to bring her sister back from the dead. But there's something wrong with the returned version of Mire, and shit starts going down in their small town. People start dying in mysterious ways. It's a horror. I feel like I didn't say it was horror, but it's horror. And yeah, stuff just starts happening. And it's really good. I really, really enjoyed it. I should wait. I followed, the author just posted something about the book. It's so good. Comes out October 7th. 4 things you will find in it. Exploration of grief as a haunting, multiple POV, a loose spin-off of the Joseon era Korean ghost story, The Tale of Janghwa and Hongryun. Hope I'm saying that right. A very, very cute pet named Milky's after the milk-flavored soda. Milk-flavored soda? That's a choice. I don't like milk. So that's on me. 4 things you will not find. A high-octane read. It's a slow burn gothic, so you need to be in the mood for something a bit more calm. Which I will say, I'm not usually one for, like, slower books. I don't think it was that slow because things were happening and I was hooked and I was really entertained the whole time, which says something because I get bored really easily. But I did not get bored reading this. No significant gore, no large emphasis on romance, which is something I wrote as well. There is a romantic subplot that's very minor, but it's really cute. They're really cute. Don't read it for romance. So I was like, it's a sprinkle of romance, and it's a standalone, which we love. I love being able to be like, that's it, and then close it. Also, look at this. Can I show this? Yeah, the author posted it. I might just add a picture. Isn't it so beautiful? My favorite book of the 2 months. So very slay, very fun. Really liked it. And that's it. That's all the books I had. I hope you enjoyed me going on a lot of tangents. I feel like this is longer than usual. 41 minutes though. That's not too bad. Anyway, for June, I'm trying to mostly read queer books. And I'm saying mostly because I did start Problematic Summer Romance. And I think I'm going to try and finish it tomorrow, between today and tomorrow. So this might be my only not queer book for Pride. But I needed a palette cleanser and I needed something fun. And I picked it up when we were in New York before release date and I was really excited about it. So I really wanted to read it. And so far, I'm like, what, a third? I wouldn't say that's like about a third of the book through. And it's really good. It's really good. He's Irish. Listen, I grew up on Jacksepticeye. The Irish, they have something. Anyway, that's gonna be my first read, and I really want to read. These are like my June hopefuls. Problematic Summer Romance. I want to finish. I want to read Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil. So excited for the release. Harrow the Ninth is my next read. I'm terrified because Gideon ripped my soul apart and I'm not ready for Harrow. And I did start it once and then give up because I got scared and I was like 10 pages in. So I'm going to try and read Harrow next. And then if I have time, I might pick up Priory. This is Sapphic month for me. If I have time, Sunbearer Trials, another one I want to try and read. I think that's it. Probably won't be able to read more, let's be so honest with ourselves. But yeah, that's it. Those are my books. Past, future, with my little ghosts. Let me show this guy again. My little phantom. He's so cute. But yeah, anyway. See you next month. Thank you for watching. If you stayed this long, you're incredible. I really talked about everything and anything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. It has been fun. If you're interested, you can subscribe for things. I have a lot of plans. I don't have time to act on my plans, but maybe through the summer, I'll have time to act on my plans and do fun stuff. If you're interested in whenever the Zodiac Academy plot recap is gonna happen as well, drop a subscribe. I feel so professional saying it. And leave a comment if you have anything to say. If you disagree with me calling a lot of book shit, feel free. I love arguing, so you can comment down below. Anyway, I'll go now. I'll stop talking to myself. I think that's enough. For once, I will say, my neighbors, I don't think we're there. Because usually, every time I film one of those, I hear them. This time, we might have escaped. Anyway, goodbye.